Hello students, today we are going to take a new topic, a very important topic, that is your non-carious lesions and their management. Non-carious lesions are classified into atresion, abrasion, abfraction, erosion, localized non-hereditary enamel hypoplasia, localized non-hereditary enamel hypocalcifications, localized non-hereditary dentin hypoplasia, localized non-hereditary dentine hypocalcification. Discoloration, malformation, amelogenesis imperfecta, dentinogenesis imperfecta, and loss of tooth structure because of trauma. Coming to the first category, that is your atresion. It can be defined as a surface to structure loss resulting from direct frictional force between contacting teeth. Continuous process, it is an age dependent process and usually physiological. Effects occluding surfaces and result in flattening of their inclined planes and in facet formations. Reverse cusp is seen in severe cases, accelerated by parafunctional mandibular movement such as bruxism. Can precipitate any of the following, that is physiological surface atresion resulting in proximal surface faceting, results from surface to structure loss and flattening widening of the proximal contact area. So in a patient of atresion, the contact areas are broad, therefore proximally increased dimension and is susceptible to decay. Mesiodistal dimension of the teeth are decreased. Overall reduction of arc length. Interproximal spaces will be decreased in dimension, thereby interfering physiology of a interdental papilla, leading to a more plaque accumulation and periodontitis. Occluding surface atresions, loss of flattening, faceting, and reverse cusping of the occluding elements, loss of vertical dimension of the tooth, thereby vertical loss on face as well as loss of vertical dimension. If wear is over a long period of time, alveolar bone can grow occlusally. Vertical dimension in such cases, loss is not imparted to the patient. Deficient masticatory capabilities, blunting of cusps may compel patient to apply more force in the teeth. Cheek biting is a sequel of occlusal surface atresion. Decay at occluding area leading to more exposed dentine tooth sensitivity. These are the pictures showing the atresion. Generalized severe atresion from tooth grinding with abrasion of the exposed dentine. Atresion due to bruxism. Here you can see that there is a flattening of all the cusps and their inclines. And below is the because of a atresion, because of a um, full crown, upper full arch ceramic restorations, and below is the normal dentation. So there is a loss of tooth structure because of the frictional contact between these two. Now coming to the treatment modalities. Number one is extraction of the pulpily involved teeth if it is not destroyable. Then is parafunctional activities such as bruxism should be controlled. Myofunctional TMJ or any stomatognathic system disorder should be diagnosed and resolved. Occlusal equilibrium should be performed. Protect sensitive dentinal areas and actual caries should be obliterated. Um, restorative modality should be done. So here is a acrylic resin maxillary-occlusal splint for the correction of the bruxism. So occlusal splint is mostly given. Then coming to the abrasion. It is defined as a surface loss of tooth structure resulting from direct frictional forces between the teeth and external object, or from frictional forces between the contacting teeth component in the presence of an abrasive medicines. It is a pathological process. Sometimes abrasion rate is faster than the dentinal deposition rate, resulting in the direct or indirect pulpal involvement. So here you can see the cervical abrasion. These are the pictures showing, and rounding of the cusp. Here you can also see at the cervical level. Toothbrush abrasion classical picture. Facets at the cervical level. Here you can also see. Now toothbrush abrasion most predominant. It occurs cervically, usually to the most facially prominent teeth in the arc. Its surface extent, depth, and rate of formation is dictated by direction of brushy strokes, size of the abrasive, percentage of abrasives in the dentifrice, type of abrasive, diameter of bristles, type of bristle, force used in brushing, type of tooth tissue being abraded. Signs and symptoms of toothbrush abrasion. The lesion may be linear in outline following the path of the brush bristles. The peripheries of the lesions are very angular, demarcated from the adjacent tooth surface. The surface of the lesion is extremely smooth and polished, and it seldom has any plaque accumulation or carious activity in it. Surrounding walls of abrasive lesion tend to make a V shape by meeting at an acute angle axially. Probing or stimulating, such as hot, cold, and sweets, the lesion can elicit pain. Other oral habits which create abrasions, such as chewing tobacco, toothpick, cutting chewing thread with incisor teeth, holding and pulling nails with front teeth. It may be atyrogenic, or it may be because of tensions with porcelain teeth opposing the natural teeth. Use of cast alloy with higher abrasive resistance than tooth enamel in a restoration opposing natural teeth. Coming to the treatment modalities, diagnose the cause of the presented abrasion, correct or replace the atyrogenic dentin work habit, restorative treatment if habits are not broken. Abrasive lesions at non-occluding tooth surface should be critically evaluated. If teeth are sensitive, desensitize exposed dentin before starting restorative treatment. Restorative treatment is sometimes is a definite modality. These are the lesions seen in the maxillary canine premolars. Here you can see the transverse cervical matrices, which we have discussed in the previous lectures. Indicated for cervical lesions is selected and placed, and restorative materials such as GIC or sometime a composite can be placed. Coming to the abstraction, it is idiopathic erosion, synonymous cervical wedge shaped defects or abfraction caused by strong eccentric occlusal forces. This is caused due to excessive occlusal stresses, and only a single tooth may be affected, leaving the neighboring teeth uninvolved. More number of teeth are affected in bruxism and in older patients. These lesions can progress around existing cervical restorations and extend subgingivally. The lingual surface of mandible teeth are rarely affected. So, come to the treatment modalities. These are the abfraction defects in maxillary incisors, preoperative view. Then enamel margins beveled and gingival protection cord is placed in the sulcus. Acid etching is done, bonding agent is applied, and then the composite resin restoration buildup is done. So this restorative treatment modality is one of the treatment option for abfraction also. Coming to the erosion, it is the loss of tooth structure resulting from chemico-mechanical lack in presence of specific microorganisms. Popular theories of causes and pathogenesis, such as ingested acid, salivary citrates, secreted acids, mechanical abrasion, chelating microbial metabolic products, acid fumes, excessive tensile stresses at the tooth clinical cervix, and fused acid salivary flow. So it's a chemico-mechanical process. Any acid in any form, whether it is because of some systemic disease, GIT esophageal reflux, or whether it is consumed externally, such as beverages, acidic beverages, can result in such type of lesion. These are classically seen on the palatal surfaces or lingual surfaces of the teeth. And if you are ingesting some acidic fumes or some acidic products, then it may be seen on the facial surfaces also at the cervical level. These are the pictures again showing extensive erosion in the teeth. Treatment modalities: eliminate the cause first of all, then preoperative study models or photographs. Give restorative modalities extremely symptomatic or disfiguring lesions. Metallic restoration should be the material choice if the restorations are indicated. So for today, that's all. Clinical management of non-carious lesions other than this also will be discussed in the second part of this lecture. Thank you so much.